You can donate
Hey
new or
everyone,
gently
we're in
used
the middle of
coats,
a
sweaters,
newscast.
scarves, and
We got a
hats,
tornado
plus
warning
blankets
that's
and
for
vests for
Sequoia
the furry
County,
friends.
and
You
it's
can drop
just
off
starting
donations
to
at Best
ramp
Friends
up.
Life
It's
Savings
just
Center
now
on Prairie
crossing
Lane
the
in
county
Bentonville
line,
Wednesday
so you
through
can hear
Sunday
chat
from
in the
noon to 4
background. We're
p.m.
in the middle
We're
of
at
a
the Seven Hills
newscast.
State
This is
Center on
just
South
about to
School
move
Avenue
into
in
Sequoia
Fayetteville
County.
Monday through Friday,
It
9
is
a.m. to
increasing
3
in
p.m.
intensity, and we are going
If
to
you're
be
looking for more,
providing weather
KWA wants to
coverage
help with our
really
local
soon
job
on
alerts. In order to
TV.
expand its
So
workforce and
just letting
state
you
no
know
plans,
ahead of
Connector
time.
will be holding a job fair on
This is
Friday,
the storm
January
right
20th
here,
from 1 p.m. to 5.
7:23.
There are multiple
And we're
openings
just
with
about
jobs starting at
approaching
more
a
than
commercial break
$19 an hour.
for our
No appointment needed.
KXNW
Just
7
show up, you're
o'clock
ready to be
newscast.
interviewed.
Here is the
Our plant is
circulation
right across
that
from
is
Bronx
moving
Stadium.
northeast.
If
It's
you
going to
want
be
to know more about
crossing
this job or
I-40
check
in
out some of the
about
other
20,
businesses
in
hiring
about
in the area,
10
go to the job
minutes.
alerts tab. You'll find
And
it on our
Vian,
website,
McKee,
KWA.com.
Pinhook Corner, these are all areas that are impacted.
Stick around, Chief
by this
Meteorologist Dan Scott back
tornado
with the last of
warned
this forecast
storm.
coming up.
So we're going to be watching this closely and keeping you updated. So we just got done with the newscast here. We just got one more little segment coming up, but wanted to let you know tornado warning now impacting Sequoia County. It's that same cell that we've been watching. It's maybe making a little more of a right turn. It's starting to turn easterly, and it is starting to increase in intensity. Absolutely.
It's
yeah.
going into a much more favorable environment.
So no debris, no confirmed tornado at the moment, but Chad, we do have a tornado warning for Sequoia County. So just to let you know, we're going to have to cover this storm, especially as the rotation increases.
Should we be switching to wall?
Yeah, we're going to switch to wall to wall here real soon.
Okay.
Yep. We're going to switch to wall real soon. In the meantime, Josh, you continue to cover this storm on streaming, and we're going to be going to television coverage here very shortly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a closer look at this storm here in Sequoia County. As you can see here, it's just been tornado warned, as
especially
Dan just
since the way the storm is ramping up and increasing in intensity.
Yep, and it's going into a much more favorable environment. There was a lot less instability
How's
that
it
was
going
working
now?
with
Is it weakening? This is the type of environment where it ramps up and then it weakens and then it ramps up and weakens. But regardless, this is we've got to continue to watch this.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm going to set a new storm motion for morning there. It does look like it weakened just a hair from the last scan.
And so that warning goes approximately until looks like
that goes until 8 o'clock. Yep. So this tornado warning goes until 8 o'clock. Right now, it's in effect for most of Sequoia County. It'll be moving into western Arkansas within the next hour or so. So we're going to have to watch the storm very, very closely
do something real quick.
as it gets closer to our area. So right now, again, you can see that it's got a little bit of a TVS signal there, which is a tornado vortex signature.
Okay. Stand by here.
But yeah, we're going to go ahead and bring this up over to the TV now.
And a red light alert badge notifies you when we're streaming. Download or update our new KNWA Fox 24 News app today. Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Chief Meteorologist Dan Scott.
Well, a storm that we've been watching in eastern Oklahoma, now making it into western Sequoia County. Tornado warning has been issued, and this does include our weather coverage area. And not only that, but the storm is actually in our weather coverage area. So we're going to watch this storm closely. There's this tornadic circulation. It's moving just to the north of Tamaha and continuing to move northeast, getting close to I-40. We'll watch this circulation, continue to see if it does ramp up in intensity. And if it does, which it's looking like it might, we'll continue to cover this storm on television coverage. Right now, we're providing this on our 7 o'clock newscast, KXNW, and that storm's moving off to the northeast. So I want to take a wider look here and show you some of the additional storms as on Mega Doppler. We've got the reflectivity on the left, velocity on the right. There are additional storms that are kind of popping up over parts of northwest Arkansas. They do not currently have any type of rotation or circulation associated with them, but additional rain and thunderstorms are moving in, and now we can see that energy is actually making it into northwest Arkansas. But remember, I talked about those storms that we had around 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. That tended to weaken the amount of instability, made the air a little more stable. And the more stable you are, the less the thunderstorms are, in terms of severity. However, we still have enough wind shear and the environment is constantly evolving thanks to those strong southerly winds that we do have to watch this circulation. And there you can see a little bit of that circulation that's popping up on the screen. I want to take a look here at real quick our radar source from Fort Smith. We'll do a storm track on this. And again, as this storm continues to track to the northeast on Weather 2, you're going to notice that we got additional storms popping up, but there is that tornado warning that goes officially until 8 o'clock. So we do have that storm that's going to be impacting our area, and we're going to be watching that closely. Tornado watch, by the way, is in effect until in effect until 10 o'clock for all of the area. So any one of these storms could in fact rotate and continue to increase in coverage. So we'll be watching this circulation, and we'll most likely be on television as we track it through Sequoyah County. So Chad, you can keep it here with your Weather Authority for the latest.
All right, thanks for watching KXNW at 7. We'll be back with more weather coverage as needed.
Now, weather alert from the Northwest Arkansas Weather Authority.
Hi, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Dan Scoff, Josh Rugger. We've been tracking these storms over the last several hours, and now we finally are starting to get the energy moving in. We do have a tornado warning. What's interesting about this environment is these storms will rapidly intensify, and then at the same time, just because we had that cloud-covered rain during the early afternoon, the storms can weaken quickly too.
Yes.
So, but right now we have a tornado warning, so we're covering this on television. I know we're interrupting your programming, but we do have essentially a threatening situation in Sequoyah County, and there will be additional storms that will make it in, and they could rapidly increase in intensity as well as these storms ramp up.
That's a volatile environment.
Yeah.
Highly unpredictable, and a lot of different smaller scale details at play that's going to allow these storms to either strengthen or weaken as we move throughout the next several hours.
Because some places saw the heavy rain and
Yep.
dropped the temperatures, and other places didn't see as much. So there's pockets of warm air, and all it's going to take is just a little bit more air that's a little bit warmer, and then next thing you know, you got a tornado touching down. So let's get to it on Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler, and the area of circulation is located just to the north of Tomahawk. It has appeared to weaken, as we've been mentioning. It's been strengthening and weakening, but there you can see that little bit of a circulation fluctuating. However, the tornado warning, let me give you some of the locations that are going to be impacted by this storm. And so we'll take a look at the wide view here on Mega Doppler. This goes until 8 o'clock in the evening, and tornado warning is for Sequoyah County. Now, notice the track of this. This is moving to the northeast, so while there are additional rain and thunderstorms out ahead of it, we're going to watch this storm closely as it makes its way into an environment that could rapidly produce tornadoes. We know what happened in Jessieville earlier today, shortly before 3 o'clock. If you haven't heard, damage occurred from most likely a tornado that came through, and that storm intensified like that, like at the snap of a finger. So we're going to zoom in, and in the meantime, Josh, we're going to go ahead and as we zoom in, we're going to, on Weather 1, do a storm track to let people know exactly where this is headed with your town, your timing. But a lot of rain and thunderstorm activity and heavy rain on I-40. This storm is going to be tracking along I-40, so make sure that you're aware of that, especially to the east of Vian, south of McKee, in between Vian and Salisaw. You're going to be impacted by this storm if you're on I-40. Rapid reduced visibility with heavy rain and all along with that circulation. So with the track, Josh, take us through this, and tornado warning until 8 o'clock. And so we're covering this up. We're giving you streaming coverage on our app, on our website, knwa.com, and then also, of course, on TV, on television. So there's the track with this storm. And Josh, you can see some of the areas that are going to be impacted, mainly northern Sequoyah County.
Yes, absolutely. And you notice too, with that tornado warning, it's not really due northeast right now, like we've seen with a lot of these other storms. It does appear it's moving a little bit more to the east than some of these other storms that we've seen earlier today. So that's why that storm track reflects that, and that tornado warning reflects that. If you're in Dwight Mission, you need to be in your storm shelter right now. This storm is right on top of you. It's moving through your area. You need to be in your tornado shelters right now. 7:40 p.m. Marble City. This storm is moving very quickly at about 45 miles per hour, so you need to be in your tornado shelters as well. 7:45 p.m. in Brushy, Oklahoma. That's going to be arriving in about 12 to 13 minutes. You also need to be taking your tornado precautions. And then we look a little bit further down the line into western Arkansas, where this thunderstorm is going to be moving towards within the next 30 minutes or so. So 8:03 p.m. Short, 8:06 p.m. Uniontown, Arkansas, 8:11 p.m. Natural Dam, and 8:15 Odell. Again, this storm's about 30 to 45 minutes away from you in those locations, but it will be moving to the east-northeast. So it is tracking that way right now. Obviously, Dan, we've seen these storms. They can change directions pretty rapidly, especially with the amount of energy that we've got moving in. But I think right now we're seeing those storm motions begin to trot a little bit further to the east with some of these supercells in the river valley.
Yeah, that makes sense with the energy that's what we call ejecting in. And so that's going to take those storms and push them a little easterly. And that is more of a favorable track motion of these storms for potential rotation. Now, if we go to weather 2, we can take a look at the wide view, and you can see additional storms are popping up. But these, just at the moment, aren't really exhibiting that tornado potential. But we'll see if this storm does, in fact, get dropped with the tornado warning. But you can still see it increasing in intensity. It is tracking right along I-40 right now as it tracks I-40. And we're going to go ahead and pause this loop here at the very end. And what we're going to do is look at some of the areas of the circulation with this. So we'll look at the storm relative velocity, and we're going to do that from the Fort Smith radar. And there you can see it's a little bit elongated, but it's still there. And this is, by the way, just now over I-40 as it's crossing northeast. There's been reports of wall clouds from storm spotters earlier today with some of these storms. There's been reports of damage, too, that occurred in eastern Oklahoma from these storms very close to the McAllister area. And then, as you'll see, that storm, as it continues to track to the northeast, it's going to be making its way, that circulation will be making it through central sections of Sequoyah County. Now, I know you're probably wondering about Fort Smith and Van Buren. Well, at the moment, this storm, as it tracks, will be north of Fort Smith and Van Buren. However, Uniontown, Brushy, probably even north of Salisaw will be impacted by this potential tornado warning. There's the area of circulation. What we mean by this is the radar showing inbound and outbound winds. So inbound means it's coming towards the radar, outbound going away from the radar, and there's the circulation. Now, because the Weather Service has issued the tornado warning, it shows you that the environment is absolutely ripe for tornado potential. And we can see this by looking at the Tornado Watch. Tornado Watch is in effect, and it goes until 10 o'clock tonight. It includes basically almost our entire weather coverage area. So while there might not be currently storms in northwest Arkansas that are tornado warned, there are additional storms that are coming in. But we mentioned that cloud cover and rain that we saw by about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon really cooled off those temperatures and might have lessened the severe weather potential. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're crossing our fingers for. Right now, though, there are quite a few storms that are popping up in the northwest Arkansas area. We'll have to watch these too, because any one of these could potentially rotate, and that rotation can ramp up basically in the snap of a finger. But there's that tornado warning until 8 o'clock. It's a radar indicated tornado, meaning the radar is detecting that rotation within the storm. We don't have any confirmation of anything touching down. We don't see any debris or any type of signature on the radar as well. So anything new from, I know the National Weather Service out of Tulsa has been updating on NWS Chat, which is our communication source from the Weather Service to our TV station. And they've been giving a lot of information about the environment, about these storms moving in and how rapidly evolving it is. And what's the latest on this storm, Josh?
Yeah, no updates from NWS Chat at this current time. Not getting any reports of damage. No confirmed tornado on the ground. Keeping an eye on radar as you're talking as well on Hahi and Coulee Megadoppler. I know we've got that fantastic product, the tornado detector. We can see these thunderstorms and see if they're really ramping up. I've also plotted some roads there as well, as you can see on the Velocity image. But
yeah,
right now, no updates from the National Weather Service. Again, we still have that tornado warning in effect, so that hasn't expired at all. But you're kind of seeing, over the last few minutes, and you talked about this extensively, Dan, about how these storms are waning and then waxing and waning and waxing. They strengthen, they weaken. And
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if this storm tightened up again as it moves towards the river valley.
It very well could. And one of the signs of that, you can see this bright red right here. That's winds that are racing out away from the radar. And that's a sign that the storm's getting inflow. Inflow into the circulation can typically mean that the storm is starting to increase in intensity. But if you're wondering who needs to take cover from this storm, circulation is right now just to the west of McKee. And so it's a little bit elongated. We zoom out. This is now north of I-40. So the circulation is tracking north. But if this starts tightening up right here in central Sequoyah County, that's the area that we really need to be watching closely. So for some of the smaller areas, Brushy, that area is going to be impacted south of Marble City. This is fairly rural terrain, but we know some people do live there. Bellefonte is going to be probably a little south of the circulation as that will track basically to the northeast, east-northeast, and then Stony Point as well. So those are all areas, Highway 59, going to be impacted by this storm as it makes its way eastward. So right now, I would say that circulation is weakening somewhat because, Josh, if you remove the roads, we go back in time. Let's just go step back a little bit just to show why we are saying that it is potentially weakening. Earlier, you can see the circulation was a lot tighter. Look at that right there. You can see the bright greens, bright reds showing up. It was even stronger when it was approaching Tomahawk and then made its way across the county line. So there you see the circulation. That was earlier, just about 7:10, 7:15. And then you can see how that has evolved. As we put it forward, there's the circulation, red colors, rain moving away. Green is inbound rain, which is basically the circulation in the storm. And then you can see it start to weaken. But then it starts to kind of redevelop just to the north. So we're going to watch this closely. We're going to see if this evolves. But I would say the tornado threat, even though the warning is out, is kind of lessened just a little bit, according to what we're seeing with the latest.
Yeah, let's take a look at, obviously Northwest Arkansas getting impacted by some storms right now as well. But we take a look at those storms and we jog off a little bit more to the northwest here. You could see, there are probably a lot of lightning with them and a lot of heavy rainfall and maybe some small hail. But it doesn't look like there's a whole lot in the way of rotation with any of these storms right now.
Maybe a little small circulation just to the northwest of Westville, kind of a little bit of weak rotation, southwestern Benton County, nothing to be concerned about. But we do have that tornado warning. We cover tornado warnings. It's a life and death situation, especially if those are in the path of a tornado and it does end up touching down. I know we're covering up your programming. I know America's Got Talent has that big event. Hopefully, if you have Peacock, you can stream that or you can see that again through your provider. But there's that tornado warning. But you do have to cover this storm because this type of environment could put down a tornado real fast. And if we're not on the air as that storm does put down a potential tornado, it could be obviously a serious situation. But there's that circulation that's now just west of 59 and continuing to move northeast and will most likely make it into Atkins, Stony Point. And so it's not really tightly wound up right now. But as we mentioned, just got to be cautious with this storm for sure.
Absolutely. And I got a new storm track on that storm as well. If we go to Weather 1 here, we can go ahead and take a look at that. There it is. So 7:48 p.m. We were just talking about Brushy, Dan. In about 8 minutes, this storm will be impacting you. So right now, it is on that weakening trend. But again, it could rapidly intensify at any moment. So if you're in Brushy, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. 7:54 p.m. Stony Point. This thunderstorm is about 10 to 15 minutes away from you. I would also take your tornado precautions right now. 8:01 Bellefonte, as you mentioned, Dan, is going to be impacted by this storm. 8:06 p.m. Short, 8:09 p.m. Uniontown, Arkansas, 8:16 p.m. Cedarville, and then by 8:19 p.m. Hitting Lee Creek, just to the west of Interstate 49. So again, right now, this storm is on the weakening trend, as Dan and I just mentioned there, but it could rapidly intensify at any moment. This environment is favorable at times for tornadoes, and we cannot let our guard down at all as the storm continues to move to the east-northeast towards the Arkansas border right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring up some other weather cameras here to look at from Siloam Springs, see what type of environment they're seeing. Yeah, you can see heavy rain coming down, obviously. So we know the rain is going to be heavy. You can see the anemometer moving around. That, by the way, is from the west, southwest. So we know that even though it's strong winds, that's not going to be tornado potential. There's no inflow with that storm. So,
And I'll tell you one thing too, Dan. The one thing that these storms have a history of producing, we know they've had a history of producing these, is very strong, damaging wind gusts. We had that
81
report-
mile an hour
Yep.
wind gust in Adair
Yep.
in Mays County. So
Yep.
that's at the Mesonet. As you mentioned, wind damage can cause just as much damage as a weak tornado.
and in a
Sure.
larger area too.
Yeah.
It tends to do that. So yeah, we're gonna have to, even if you don't have a tornado warning over your area right now, or you are in the tornado warning, there may not be a tornado on the ground, but the damaging wind risk is definitely very high as well.
So we'll go back to Mega Doppler. We'll take a look at the very latest scan, and there you can see a new circulation now starting to tighten up on the north end of Sequoyah County, just to the north of Marble City. This is the type of storm that's coming in. Now, one of the things we're going to notice here is this will take more of a what we call a linear type of segment, but that still could bring the potential for tornado development. There's the circulation south of Marble City that's moving northeast. You can see what we call a little bit of a rear inflow jet. That's kind of the descending cool air that's coming in on the backside of the storm. So this could be more of what we call a QLCS tornado potential, as several of these areas could in fact rotate. And as that makes its way into northwest Arkansas, we're still under the tornado watch. We can't let our guard down, and we won't. We'll continue to watch these storms like a hawk as they move in. But as soon as this tornado warning gets dropped, hopefully it will here shortly. It goes until 8 o'clock, just a few more minutes. We'll dump off of our television coverage, but we'll still do our streaming as we track these storms as they make their way into northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, and I got an update from NWS chat just now, Dan, about some reports of power lines down to the west of Salisaw. So
Okay.
as that thunderstorm was cranking up just a few moments ago, it definitely looks like it caused some damage west of Salisaw, according to NWS chat. We're getting reports of power lines down west of town.
And that looks like that wind damage.
Yep.
Wind damage can cause, obviously, strong winds can cause damage just like a tornado. So it's not always about the circulation. And remember, severe thunderstorm warning means winds 58 miles an hour or greater. Tornado warning can also have damaging winds. And then, of course, you have the tornado threat, and there's that tornado potential. We're going to watch that area closely and see if that does, in fact, ramp up and start increasing its circulation as the new radar update becomes available. But definitely a lot of lightning, a lot of thunderstorm activity. For those that are watching, why don't we make our way into northwest Arkansas? By the way, we do this split screen so we can see right at the same time the reflectivity, which is basically what the rain looks like in the thunderstorm. And then we have to know which way the rain is moving. Is it moving towards or away from the radar? And if it's happening in a very close location, then clearly you have a circulation. And so right here, there's your rain that's moving away from the radar towards the radar. There's your area of circulation. And that's where the beginning stages of a tornado could be developing in this location as it makes its way to the northeast. Now, Josh, why don't we pan out and we'll zoom out here a little bit. We'll make our way into northwest Arkansas. We'll see if those circulations have increased any. And we just have the cooler conditions. Temperatures are in the mid 60s, lower 60s, and that's probably not going to do it according to the computer models in terms of tornado potential. So those cells just aren't circulating, which is great news. We are seeing rain and thunderstorm activity, but it looks like maybe as of now, and hopefully this remains the case, maybe northwest Arkansas for the most part dodges a bullet. That would be really wonderful if that does happen. And that was always a concern. I know it was a concern with you, Josh, in terms of the severity, was how much thunderstorm activity we would see during the day. And when we woke up, there was a lot of sunshine after the fog burned off pretty quickly. And then that led to warmer temperatures, about record warmth, with highs in the mid 70s in Fayetteville. But then the cloud cover rain came in and it really dropped the temperature fast back down into the low 60s.
There was that time early this morning where I was getting a little bit worried because we weren't seeing a lot of development like the models were showing last night in the morning hours in terms of that morning convection. But it did end up eventually coming just in time, just in the nick of time, that's for sure.
Yeah, so new severe thunderstorm warning just issued now. We'll take a look at that here and give you an idea. And so there it is, severe thunderstorm warning, and that's for the north end of that cell. That's tornado warned. That goes until 8:30. And of course, the tornado watch in effect for the entire area until 10 o'clock. 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail, looking like the main threats with that cell. That's on the north end of that tornadic circulation. As the south end of it has the tornado warning that goes until 8 o'clock. So about another 13 minutes or so. And there's that area of rotation that we'll be watching. So there's the severe thunderstorm threat. And we'll take a look here at, there you got it right there, tornado warning until 8 o'clock. So we'll take a look again at Mega Doppler, see what that circulation's doing. And boy, it's amazing how quickly this system evolves and then starts to fall apart again. And so that's looking like the case with this system. But can't drop off the tornado warning until I think it's totally clear to do that, even though it goes until 8 o'clock. So again, just to recap, if you're just tuning in, I know we're covering up your programming. We do have a tornado warning that's including our weather coverage, and it's in western sections of our weather coverage area in Sequoyah County in eastern Oklahoma. And that area of circulation is something to watch south of Marble City. It's increasing a little bit, then it decreases, it cycles up. And then one thing we'll have to watch is this area near Greasy as it moves northeast. And this is, by the way, in southern Adair County. There's a severe thunderstorm warning. Does that have a tornado possible tag on it too? Let's see. I wouldn't doubt if it does in this type of environment. No, it just looks like it's radar indicated with no tornado possible tag. So, but that little area, what we call an inflow notch, we'll have to watch as that tracks to the northeast. Why don't we put on weather 2? We'll zoom in. We'll do another storm track. We'll let people know exactly where this is headed. So first of all, the area of circulation moving east-northeast, it's going to be not impacting Fort Smith, Van Buren, Muldrow. Those are all going to be south of the circulation and south of the storm. Uniontown at 822, Natural Dam 829, Lee Creek 836, Mountainburg as it makes its way into Crawford County, going to be about 854. So about a little over an hour from now as that storm's moving east-northeast at about 40 miles an hour. And then the north end of the storm, let's draw a storm track on that little area of what we call an inflow notch. I'll continue to watch that on Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler. But there's the track on that Josh is putting up. And that's moving in a northeasterly direction. And there you can see some of the areas that are going to be impacted by that in southwestern Washington County. Evansville, as well as Zion, Morrow, those areas will continue as it moves northeast. We'll see if it makes it into the Fayetteville area. The moment, Prairie Grove, 854. Just kind of giving you a heads up on this in advance, in case you're watching this and on this storm. But we've broke into your television coverage just because of that tornado warning that goes until 8 o'clock for Sequoyah County. So any new information coming out from the National Weather Service out of Tulsa and Little Rock, man, they have their hands full too with this storm as it popped up rapidly over Jesseville. That really happened fast.
Yeah, absolutely. It just shows how quickly things can change, especially in an environment like this. And that's why we're keeping ourselves on our toes right now, because again, these things can rapidly change. I know we had that rain earlier today, but again, we still have that environment in place that is favorable for tornadoes in some locations in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Now, we did get an update on the tornado warning, Dan. It's not going to be allowed to expire. It continues until 8 o'clock. However, they're going to continue to watch the latest trends on this storm. Again, it's kind of borderline right now. It's weakened considerably, but it's still hanging on just enough that they're going to keep that tornado warning until 8 o'clock at the least, and then they'll reevaluate that and see if they'll issue another tornado warning for western portions of Arkansas.
And here's the deal too, Josh. I got a different radar site from Tulsa that has a little bit higher up of the storm. And you can see definitely the circulation, what we call a coupler. Let's go to weather 2 if we can, Josh. And yeah, there it is. You can see that circulation. Let me show you the difference. So this is from the Tulsa radar. As you can see those red colors, rain moving away from the radar because the radar is located on the upper left-hand portion of your TV screen or your tablet or wherever you're watching the severe weather coverage on. The green colors, rain moving towards or precipitation moving towards the radar. So there's your circulation in association with this. If we back it up a little bit, you can still see it's hanging on. And you can't just continue to, not pay attention to that. Now, over the last maybe the couple of scans, you can see it starting to weaken and become a little bit more elongated and a little bit more broad, as we mentioned. Then we look at the Fort Smith radar, and you'll notice there's the storm. And we look at the circulation, and you can see it has a totally different look to it. It's still there, but it's more elongated. So maybe not as much low-level rotation, which of course is important for tornado potential, not as much tight low-level rotation. But from the Tulsa radar, you can see that mid-level circulation still very apparent, what we call the mesocyclone. The mesocyclone is a rotating updraft, long-lived, sustained rotating updraft. So now here we are close to 8 o'clock. Hopefully this warning expires. We can get you back to programming. Again, hopefully you can watch that whole programming on Peacock streaming services. I know that they'll offer that, and that is all free, by the way, if you just sign up for that, and they'll show those shows again. But here's a look at what's happening again on Mega Doppler. Circulation still elongated, still showing up, but just missing that ingredient. I think that ingredient is storm motion with the wind shear, and then also the amount of low-level instability just because we had that cloud cover and rain during the afternoon.
Let me tell you what, though, Dan, the models did a tremendous job.
They really did,
with
yeah.
the convection and what its role would be in this severe weather risk. Because we saw on the HRRR, for example, that instability just kind of get sucked away early this morning on the models because of that morning convection. And
for the afternoon and evening, that's
hours.
Exactly what happened.
Because those parameters and those the more favorable wind shear wasn't going to come in until around this time. But it wouldn't matter if the instability was sucked dry, and that seems like what's happened. We've got those little pockets of higher instability, but it's not sustained enough that these tornadoes can actually, touch the ground and cause damage.
Yeah,
at least at this current time.
At this current time, but as we go throughout the night, that moisture, the instability continues to try to increase, but temperatures are still cool too because it's at night. Yep. It's always a constant, just real dynamic and really challenging environment. And when we're 2-3 days out, we can't detect when those thunderstorms will develop, which is why you got to have the higher resolution models, and then we can start giving you fine details on the timing and all that stuff. But so just again, taking a look at the latest update, we got a new radar scan just south of Greasy and just to the west of Brushy. There's that storm that's moving northeast now, just about to cross Highway 59. A little bit of a circulation there located just to the west of Brushy. And then as we make our way north of that, you can see that storm in southern Adair County that has a little bit of that circulation, and also a little bit of a heavier rain core too, with some small hail towards Cherry Tree. So 5 more minutes here with that tornado warning, and we'll let it expire. We'll continue our weather coverage just to let you know on streaming, whether that would be on our website, knwa.com. Also on Facebook Live, if you want to care to comment. We'll answer those comments as we get back to non-television coverage, but we'll continue to watch that closely. So just to sum up, tornado warning until 8 o'clock. If you're just tuning in, we are covering up the programming. This does include Sequoyah County. Sequoyah County is being impacted by this storm. Also, Adair County under a severe thunderstorm warning. With that southern end of the cell, 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail, all possible. Remember, strong damaging winds can also occur from these storms. And making our way back up in northwest Arkansas, it's kind of a noisy one for some of you folks with those storms, and maybe a little bit of an isolated cell there, but we look at the circulation and it just doesn't show up as much. And that's because those ingredients just aren't there. Also, too, look at the lack of lightning. Josh, you can see very little lightning. That's all about that stability. The higher the stability, meaning the more stable it is, the less the thunderstorm will be. And that's exactly what we have right now.
Yeah, one of the telltale signs, when I've been storm chasing and stuff like that, I've learned, and know as well, Dan, is a lot of lightning, a lot of those positive lightning bolts happen in those storms that are intensifying. And you're not seeing that in those storms in northwest Arkansas. Now in the River Valley, you scroll down just a little bit more here and you can see quite a bit more lightning with those thunderstorms there. That means those storms are a lot more intense, and they're, continuing to be they continue to have that threat for tornadoes. So that's why in northwest Arkansas, where that instability got sapped earlier today, those storms really aren't taking off right now.
I think at this point, Josh, I don't think this storm's going to tornado within the next 5 minutes. There's a little bit of a circulation in southern Adair County, but it's nothing we can't cover on TV. Originally, that storm was looking a little more intense. But if it does ramp up and increase in intensity, we'll let you know about it. But for now, we're going to return you right back to your programming before this tornado warning expires. If you want to continue watching severe weather coverage, just go to our website, knwa.com. Also on Facebook Live, many different Facebook avenues, and keep you here with your weather authority, and we'll keep you safe.
Now,
Good work, guys.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it. All right, we're back on, and we're back on streaming. This tornado warning should not continue past 8 o'clock. I just
Nope.
really don't think so. So hopefully you can hear me. We're going to try to answer some questions here. A lot going on for sure, but I know we covered up America's Got Talent. I know that I kind of wanted to watch that myself, but we'll just have to catch it on Peacock. Hopefully some of you will catch it on Peacock. We do have a service that we have to provide. I see a lot of the angry faces. I know. I even knew that the America's Got Talent thing that's happening tonight is going to tick off a lot of people, especially if there's tornado warnings. But yeah, unfortunately, it's there. So we'll watch it closely. But this could be a lot worse, I think, if we were warmer for sure.
And if we didn't get the earlier convection, this would be really bad.
Yeah, so we can't okay. So we got some people that are being supportive, not angry. But I know there's some angry faces for sure. So I get it. I know you want to watch your programming. Thunder is shaking the house here in Gravette. So a little bit of a lightning activity that's popping up. Let's go ahead and we'll go to that here. So what I'm going to do is we've got that split screen on there, but there's the storm. I'm going to make this one screen just because there's really not anything to look at right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we got this cell that's in Delaware County. Is it rotating? No.
Not at all.
Is this cell strong? Not really. In fact, look at the echo top. So you can see maybe a little bit higher. Then you go down here and you got a much taller thunderstorm, a little more intense. Then we got down here the tail end Charlie, if you will. Got a little bit of a circulation. Those are those wind damage reports and hail. So, and then we just got some rain and thunderstorm activity. So
That's a nice little storm chasing reference, by the way, there.
oh yeah, tail end Charlie. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning that's just being issued.
And that's right over that overlap.
That is for the overlap and tornado warning.
With the tornado possible tag as expected. Let's check it out here. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and nickel size.
Well, if you watched our Facebook Live, we mentioned extensively how we were concerned about the afternoon convection.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what happened. I know. It unfortunately it happens, but so that thunderstorm activity really cooled us off, because if we were in the mid to upper 70s right now with dew points in the upper 60s with the storm system coming in, it was intense.
outbreak.
But there is that question too about the storm motions with the
Yeah.
shear. And I've been mentioning it all along. And I just don't think it's quite there. Now, Jessieville, that storm had a little bit better of a shear profile for the northeasterly motion of that storm. We got a new update from National Weather Service, so let's go ahead and we'll read that off.
Yep. So it says the severe thunderstorms in Adair and Sequoia counties are moving down a narrow instability axis of about 800 to 1,000 joules per kilogram that extends across Washington County. 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative velocity is 250 to 300. That environment will support continued severe potential with some storm rotations as the storms continue into Washington County, which that's where they are moving right now.
Yeah.
Those stronger thunderstorms that are in Greasy and just to the east of Marble City there. But again, it's those little pockets of instability when you start seeing those storms really take off. Because I think the shear is definitely kicked in now. The wind shear's kicked in now. We've got the low-level jet as well. That's definitely here. The energy's here. We've seen that on water vapor. We looked out the window. You can see it happening. But the instability, which was there earlier today, is kind of sapped across most locations.
What's interesting, though, is there's really not much that's happened over the river valley, and it's pretty quiet. Is that a precursor of some things to come? Because you can still see some development northwest of McAllister that's popping up.
Yep.
But will that actually make it? I don't, this is really going to cool things off.
Well, River Valley, I mean, those same areas though too, Dan. They had all that rain.
Yeah, they
It
did.
happened earlier in the day.
They had a lot of rain.
There's a ton of rain.
This will probably be trouble here. This storm
Yeah.
that's in southeastern Oklahoma that's going to make its way into west central Arkansas.
Yep.
But as of now, this storm system not really evolving like a moderate, I keep saying moderate, but an enhanced
Yeah.
risk. Oh yeah. So someone's saying ready for it to be over. I believe it. Super loud in Bella Vista. So let's show you our Bella Vista WeatherBug Network camera. Oh yeah, you can see that rain coming down. And we'll see if we catch any lightning. You can tell these storms are highly amped. They're just not amped for tornado potential.
And damaging winds and small hail, definitely. I mean, we get, like we mentioned on air, the reports of that 81-mile-an-hour wind gust in
Yeah.
radar. But at least in terms of tornado potential, that doesn't look like it's coming into fruition right now.
There's a little bit of lightning. Do you think this is going to miss Westville? Yeah, it sure looks like it, Lisa. I mean, as far as the tornado potential. So what about Van Buren, Fort Smith, out of the woods? That is a good question because they haven't really seen much. I don't know how much else develops. There still is potential, though, to the southwest that maybe this evolves and develops.
Until that front pushes through, there's potential
Yeah.
for storms to
I don't
form.
believe Benton County is going to get much rotation. Just really doesn't look like it.
No.
These aren't your supercells that are tapping into a very ripe thermodynamic environment. Dynamically, yes, but thermodynamics, no. Cole, you're very thankful and very welcome, and I appreciate it that you're kind and that you're saying that we're covering up these storms and providing severe weather coverage. That's what we want to do. Lighting in Bella Vista, steady, heavy rain. It is really coming down right now in Bentonville. Fulbright, too, you'll see pretty quiet right now. That's about to change as this line comes through.
Here she comes.
So there's Fulbright. Bentonville Square is going to be getting
Rainy.
heavy rain, too, real soon. Guess that's a still image. We still haven't fixed that.
Oh, man.
Power flash. No, I'm just kidding. Some lightning off in the distance.
I was going to say.
Those are lights. But Bella Vista, is getting some really heavy rain. You can see that is a downpour.
I'll take it.
Good news is that it's moving out pretty quick. So the lightning is not going to be as much of a factor. Where's the front right now? That's a good question. Let's check it out.
Water vapor should probably tell the story.
We'll zoom out on the wider view. Yeah, we'll look at temperatures too.
Yep.
Yeah, front's way west. So that is one thing that we have to be concerned about is that potentially the front could fire off additional storms, but I don't really see that happening. So
You see how cold it's getting behind there.
there's the front that's coming in. So one thing you can do is look at the winds too. Strong southerly winds.
Now the temperatures did bump up a little bit. 67 in Fayetteville, 65 in Fort Smith. They were in the lower 60s.
Yeah.
So they bumped up just a little bit, but that will soon change as this rain moves in. That'll decrease the severe risk further.
So we're loading up here the watches and warnings just to say.
But I will say this though, on that temperature map, you saw Fort Smith, Stigler, and those locations.
Yeah.
McAllister, those upper 60s in that untapped environment still. So
Erica Hill just said, remember that time we got tornadoes all the time? Yeah, it was about the time when James Hildrew was chasing 2011. There was a lot of tornado potential for sure.
Yeah, before I was born.
Yeah. No.
I'm 12.
Yeah, right. But a lot of times lately, these events, except for November 4th, just really haven't panned out. And we're thankful for that. But at the same time, when you're forecasting severe weather, you just don't know. The potential's there, but that's why you have to say it's potential. We still have severe thunderstorm with one severe thunderstorm warning.
Just a singular one.
Well, actually two.
Yeah, I guess
I
that
take
takes
that back.
that's-
It's the
that's
same
different.
storm. One storm that's severe warned with two warnings. So let's look at the circulation. There it is, and there it goes. Bring that up
Yeah.
on Mega Doppler right there.
Just doesn't look very impressive. Now earlier it did look a little bit better.
Yeah, earlier we'll show you when they warned on it right here.
Yep.
So this, by the way, is at this is at 7:04. Here's 7:10. Right there is really starting to get good. That was at about 110Z, so 120Z. That was about 720. There's 730. And there's where we were covering it on TV. And then as soon as we got on the air, then it fell apart. This time I was thinking maybe we could drop off, but there was still a little bit of an elongated circulation that could increase in intensity. And once I saw that, I was like, I'm done with this.
I was like, she's gone.
No more warning. Wow. So, in terms of what storm chasers would call this enhanced risk, it would be a
Enhanced bust.
enhanced bust. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not done yet.
Not done yet. And it's still got a long way to go for those locations east of here that are in the enhanced risk as well. This is a giant enhanced risk. I mean, it goes all the way into western Mississippi, western Tennessee.
Really be interested to see what happens, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much about it. I think it's almost done here in eastern Oklahoma. This one cell is a little bit more intense, and yeah. Can you explain what the green and red circulation looks like on radar? So yes, I can. We'll go back here, and so here's the area of rotation that's showing up. So let me go to our Mega Doppler, and what I'll be able to do. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it up on this source. So stand by. And so now what I'll be able to do, hopefully, is that the data set? That's not the data set. All right, so this is your area of rotation right here. What's happening is the radar is down here. That is in Fort Smith. So if we're looking down here, here's the radar, Jeremy. So just to explain what's going on. Okay, the radar's down here. There's that circulation right there. It's associated with the storm. We zoom in on it. And what you're having is red colors that are moving away from the radar, and the cool colors, the greens, are moving towards the radar. So that's a pretty weak, elongated rotation, but there is some rotation that you see where the towards and away are really close together. That's why we watch for those little couplet areas, as we call them. So that's the area of circulation that you're watching, that we're watching too. But just really isn't impressive at all.
Not at all.
Which is great. What is the orange quadrant meant by Mountainberg? So
The polygon?
yeah, it's a good question. That's called the severe thunderstorm warning polygon. So what I'll do is I'll zoom in on this and I'll show you. So this warning right here has quarter size hail, or should I say nickel size hail, and 60-mile-an-hour winds. And so Jennifer, what you're seeing here is where that thunderstorm is most likely going to impact. Now, as it translates eastward, we'll probably see a warning get issued for Washington County and maybe even northern Crawford County.
Yes.
So anywhere within this area, this is called the storm-based warning, known as the polygon. And that polygon represents the area where the storm's going to impact. This one, you can see it's a little bit of a darker orange. Well, remember, the tornado warning was in Sequoyah County on the southern tip. And when we go down here, you can see that this has a severe thunderstorm warning, meaning 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail, but also a tornado possible. The tornado possible is because of the rotation is not strong enough to prompt tornado potential, but the storm has had persistent kind of low-level rotation that could increase in intensity and perhaps even produce a tornado before the report comes out. Or before the tornado warning comes out.
Yeah, it's kind of like just a precautionary
Yeah.
thing. And it's a storm to really keep an eye on.
Are we muted on YouTube?
Don't think so.
Can
We
you check
shouldn't be.
that out?
We should not be muted on YouTube. Let's see here.
I'm gonna take a look at
Stand
that.
by. Okay. Popped up right at the top of my list.
When about does the severe weather potential end? We'll take a look at that. Okay, yeah, it's still working. So,
SpongeBob episodes, worst to best. That's in the top of my recommended.
so the potential, Josh Marshall, a director, right behind this wall. We're talking about probably maybe around 10, 11 o'clock at the very latest, I'd say. So not much after the 10 o'clock news. I hope this other stuff doesn't evolve.
I doubt if it does. With what's going on right now too, this is just going to further weaken the environment even more than it already is.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to have, in my opinion, and this could change and things can throw curveballs at us. In my opinion, if anything's going to happen, it has to happen now with these storms that are moving through. Now,
Yep.
for this area here, south of Interstate 40, along and south of Interstate 40, which yesterday was always the greatest tornado risk, in my opinion, where we haven't seen a lot of thunderstorms yet. This area, I would stay on my toes still, just in case there's more thunderstorms.
If there's more storms
Yeah.
that develop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the radar real quick, because people are asking what's going on. There's the storm activity that's in southeastern sections of McDonald County, Berry County, that's in Missouri. Then we work our way south. You can see the thunderstorm that's moving through central Benton County, not severe. Got a storm that's here. Look at this little interesting doodad over Lincoln, but again, doesn't have any circulation with it, or at least doesn't have any low level. Let's see if it has any mid level. No, nothing.
I like that term though, doodad.
Doodad, doohickey. Yeah, dude.
It's kind of a dookie.
Which is kind of what these storms are.
Yeah, these are dookie storms.
No, not intensifying over northwest Arkansas. Nope. So, Melissa, I think we're good.
Honestly, you know what? These storms are also weakening as they're moving into Washington County. Look how much the lightning's just starting to go away.
Yeah, just die away.
Yep.
What is it? Die with the Lorax?
Yeah. Let it die, let it die, let it shrivel up and die. Come on, who's with me?
That's exactly what's going to happen. So, and that storm isn't even going to be severe thunderstorm with a tornado possible anymore. That's going to be moving out of the area. So, yeah, it's, I'm thankful. I'm grateful because this could have been a lot worse.
Absolutely.
And I know we keep mentioning the potential, and then this potential isn't coming to fruition. It's almost like it's kind of frustrating for us because it makes it look like it's, we're crying wolf, we're overhyping it. But look at what the Storm Prediction Center did, and they had that risk all the way out. I did mention that the shear vector for the northeast moving storms is not favorable. It's not a critical angle of near 90.
And we've been talking about too over the last few days, the limiting factors, the things that we were concerned about. And that's why we say potential, because there's a difference between saying something's going to happen and it potentially happening. And the environment had the potential to produce tornadoes if things came together. And fortunately, it doesn't look like that happened. So I'm very thankful too that this didn't happen because, looking at the potential that the storm system had, it certainly could have been a whole lot worse.
Look at that rain coming in from Fort Smith. So there will be some heavy rain. Prairie Grove is getting it right now. In fact, we can look to the west. We can see that rain core. Probably some gusty winds. There might be some winds over 40, 45 miles an hour. Yeah, I'd rather overestimate it than under. I agree.
Yeah.
Evansville must be in the clear. Not quite. Evansville's just about to get this storm. No, you can see the base off in the distance, and it's just not very organized. But at the same time, you can't see the rain core. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Whoa. That's a nice little lightning bolt there. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we'll watch this. We'll keep watching it. All right. It's booming in Prairie Grove. Yep. And there's a reason for that. We'll bounce back and forth to this. Actually, here's what we can do. I'm going to do this real fast. Bring up Mega Doppler.
That is a pretty low base there, but again, not
Yeah.
very organized at all.
It doesn't take long though.
That's the one challenge though with it being.
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the one challenge with it being night though is we can only see what's going on at the base of those storms when we get a little bit of lightning.
Here's what we'll do. We'll bring up some weather cameras here. So we had Mount Sequoia. We'll continue to keep up Mount Sequoia. There you go.
Nice.
So
And-
now what we can do is
We'll do. There we go. I mean, you got a little
There you
area, little area there of interest. Again, not very impressive, very elongated.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's almost like it's stretched.
Cancels the severe thunderstorm warning for Sequoia.
So that was that one.
Ooh, that actually does have a nice what we call vault area where you have wind shear. The wind shear is there, mid level and upper level wind shear is there. That was actually really pretty cool. So hold on, I'm going to save this real fast. We're going to leave that in there with that view. But when I go back to Mega Doppler, or actually when I go back to our WeatherBug camera, I'm going to show you what we're looking at here, just for those that are watching. So the vault area is known as the updraft. It's in between the precipitation core and the updraft, and we can actually see this area known as the vault. So we'll wait for another lightning strike, but right in here, this is called the vault. Here's the precipitation. Look at the wind shear. You can see how
You can see
strong the
cranking.
storms are moving. And then you've got the lowered cloud base to the southwest. So this is looking west-southwest. This is looking at the storm towards Prairie Grove. There's not a lot of lightning with this. So this is a tornadic storm. You'd be seeing lightning like crazy. That's a base of a thunderstorm, more of a shelf cloud appearance than a wall
It does
cloud.
have that shelf cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, on the leading edge, you do have that vault area that's kind of cool. You can see
That is
it right there. So this is the updraft, and the updraft's tilted because of the strong winds aloft.
Mhm.
What are they saying on that?
The winds aloft should start to weaken behind the lead storms. So we aren't too concerned about the cells. The next 30 minutes or so should give clues if anything can happen. I don't know what cells he's referring to.
No, the ones that are warned.
Steve, what's the chance? Okay, what's the chance of cells popping up behind the main cells doing something severe? So that's what he was referring to.
Yeah,
And yes, I agree. If anything's going to happen, it's going to have to happen with these storms that are forming right now in southern Washington County, or the cells that form south of Interstate 40.
whoa. Wow.
Oh,
Looking at this here, Jacob. Monday Night Football game. Ambulance called. Player needed CPR. Defibrillated the game. Temporary suspended. Bills held it back in the locker room. Wow, that's
whoa.
not good at all.
Um,
I see they're not doing the game right now either. Huh.
uh-oh. That's not.
I know that's another thing too, is that this storm was happening while that
It was
while
going
that-
on
while
on
the game was
ABC.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a storm coming in. Wow.
That's wow.
Who was it that needed the CPR? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
I'm
This is the first time I'm
Asking
hearing.
our
Whoa.
viewers. Yeah, so it's you can see not much of a cloud base there. Nothing really menacing at all.
This is a pretty good lightning strike.
Good lightning strike, yeah. What we call intracloud lightning. That's not even cloud to ground. What about those other cells west? Raining now very hard in Fayetteville. Yep.
Those cells to the west look very meh.
That is all garbage. I think this is just going to be
Crap.
one big, except for this cell. I don't know. It's just going to be, hopefully it's a
mention.
dud.
Yep.
Is this going to be a tornado? No. Not going to be a tornado as of now.
Lightning and rain.
Raining hard in Bentonville. So here's a look at Bentonville. It's coming down. Raining hard in Maysville, Sulphur Springs. Gravit's going to be getting some rain. Let's do a little radar tour for those that are still watching. So we've got Southwest Missouri, Barry, McDonald County in our weather coverage area, Washburn, Cassville, Seligman, Work our way south, Springdale, Johnson, Fayetteville, Prairie Grove really getting it. Lincoln really heavy rain too. Let's look at our WeatherBug network camera from Lincoln.
Very, very heavy rain.
So here's from Lincoln. Will DFW get? Oh no! Did that go down?
Oh, please don't go down.
I think it did.
Don't let it die. Don't let it die.
Oh,
there we
it
go.
didn't. It didn't. Okay. Yeah, don't let it die.
It's
Let's see if we
raining.
can see. Yeah, definitely some rain. We'll see if we see any lightning. Yeah, Larry, bring in the new year with a weather fake out. That's
About what happened.
that's about what happened. You got it. I can't deny that. Car wash. Car's getting a nice wash finally.
Yeah, make sure you get that salt off your cars too. Go to the
Yeah.
car wash if you haven't already, because that can cause problems and down the road with your vehicles.
Just not. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. So, Damar Hamlin. Oh man. Oh, nobody's on there.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Mm-mm-mm.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna continue to watch this storm coming in. We'll give it a few more minutes. Break off here soon, but we might need to temper down the teases here. Mesoscale discussion expires severe thunderstorm warning. So that's dropping.
So now there's no warnings.
At least we're getting the rain.
There's now no warnings for any location in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley right now.
It's amazing how that instability really dropped off quick, because it did.
It's a blessing.
It dropped off real quick.
Those storms that we had earlier today were blessings. I mean, it really is, because if you don't have that, then you have all the parameters in place, and we're talking about an outbreak
Yeah.
potentially, instead of dodging a bullet. And that's why we talk about these things days in advance, because there's potential.
Yep. Rogers getting rain, but nothing really major. So just some rain. Is Elkins in the clear? Elkins will get some rain, but nothing really major as of now.
Train.
Yeah, that's not the tornado sounding like a train, though.
That's an actual.
That's
train.
an actual train. Yeah.
So that's what a tornado sounds like.
I'll never forget that one time they interviewed someone out of Oklahoma with a tornado. Actually, it was in the Texas Panhandle, and this guy goes, "That sounded like a tornado, but I never heard any woo woos or click clacks." And I was like, "Woo woo." Mark Payton's vlog has a possible footage of a funnel. I can believe that. There was definitely funnels earlier today. No doubt about that. Made a tackle and collapsed. Oh, man, that's not good. That's not good. Anybody have him on fantasy?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think he's a defensive player.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he'd
you
be part of
guess you would have the defense.
defense/special teams. Though there is actually, now that's not true. There is actually football leagues, Dan, where you have a 53-man roster.
Golly.
Yeah,
no
and you
way.
actually have to manage everything.
Not messing with that.
No. Ain't nobody got time for that.
So there you go. Storms popping up, developing, and boy, you can really see them weakening as they make their way into Northwest Arkansas.
And
In fact, I'm gonna go tell the newsroom to maybe temper down the teases about severe weather impacting our area.
there's one more comment that
I'll
I got
be
to
right
point
back.
out here,
Yeah.
Dan, by TKWMS. Nice suits too, and nice ties.
Oh,
As
nice.
well.
I appreciate
Yes,
it. Very
yes.
cool. Let me go ahead and tell them.
The tie game is strong. Let's see here. Let's look through any other comments. No, there's just not enough energy, like you said, Chris, for that tornado potential to come to fruition. But again, you never know. Sometimes these things can ramp up really quickly. That's why we're continuing to watch it. But I think that the tornado risk is going down significantly as we speak, which is a great thing. We definitely want to see that. We'll watch these other storms that are popping up behind here. I'm still going to watch along and south of Interstate 40 here, and I'm going to move your comment out of the way, Chris. Still watching along and south of Interstate 40 for the potential for a few more thunderstorms to develop again. Likely would not be anything significant, but just something we're going to have to watch closely. Because maybe we'll get a storm or two that overproduces, and then we'll have to be back on again. But I don't see much of anything else really going crazy here with this system. And there's no more severe thunderstorm warnings. There's no more tornado warnings. We had that one tornado warning earlier today that was around the Scott County area, northeast towards Johnson County. That one, kind of, got our pep in our step. And then we had that one tornado warning that went through Sequoia County in eastern Oklahoma. But other than that, 2 tornado warnings. Doubt we've had any tornadoes that are confirmed. And it looks like things are going to continue to die down as we move throughout the rest of the night. Again, though, we're going to watching along and south of Interstate 40 for the potential for maybe a few more thunderstorms developing. If that does happen, then we could maybe see a little bit more of an enhanced severe risk. But again, tornado risk has gone down quite a bit over the last few hours, and it will continue to go down.
So much, in
yeah.
fact, that the tie is coming off.
Yeah, the tornado tie is coming off, and I mean that explains it right there. That's all you need to know about this system.
I'm not even wearing the big lightning tie either.
And not even the radar tie.
Not even the intense lightning tie.
I think it's time to bring out that Santa tie. This might. Well, Vincent had a good question. Is there flash flooding? No, it doesn't look like much in the way. It's not sustained enough. Now, a couple days ago, when we were first looking at everything, Vincent, it looked like there was the potential for maybe some isolated flash flooding, but it just doesn't look like that's going to happen. There's just not a whole lot of sustained heavy rainfall right now here in Northwest Arkansas or the River Valley. Let's look at some cams here. I'm interested to see a few more cams. Let's look at our Alma Weatherbug Network camera so you can see not a whole lot of activity going on in the River Valley right now. Again, watching a couple storms southwest towards Eufaula that could impact that area. Bella Vista getting a little bit of heavy rain. Maybe get another round of heavy rain before this is all said and done. Fulbright Junior High, not a whole lot going on as well. Bentonville Square, which is a still image, so we can't even look at that right now. So Decatur City Hall. And you can see some lightning in the background there. This is facing to the southwest. So there could be a little bit more in the way of some thunderstorm activity near Decatur. Graduate Hotel camera, heavy rain really starting to crank up right now. Let's look at that Mount Sequoia cam because here comes that thunderstorm. Let's keep it on this camera right here because I want to see if we get any more lightning flashes. We're going to see that base of the storm move through. Let's see if I can see any more comments here. I'm going to hide that. We're under a tornado watch right now, Bella. So not a tornado warning. The tornado watch will expire at 10 o'clock. And honestly, I think they'll allow it to expire. I don't envision that tornado watch getting extended at all because it just doesn't look like these storms are doing anything major at this current time. Daniel, looks like the tornado watch will be canceled at about 10 o'clock. So it goes till 10. I think they'll keep it till 10, but then allow it to expire until then. Just because there will be a few more thunderstorms that could move through and do things. Again, not expecting anything in the way of flash flooding. Locally heavy rainfall. Could get some heavy rain. Flash flooding. Remember, flash flooding is it's a rapid amount of rain in a short amount of time that can make flooding happen quickly. And while we are getting heavy rainfall, the rainfall rates aren't really that overly impressive. We're not seeing training thunderstorms. The flash flooding threat is slim to none tonight here in Northwest Arkansas or in the River Valley. Let's see here if we got any more questions here. Siloam Springs, any concerns? AJ, I think most of the severe weather risk is moved out of the area. Again, there could be a few more rumbles of thunder, a few more areas of heavy rainfall. But at this current time, just not seeing much in the way of severe weather in Siloam Springs or really anywhere in our coverage area right now. We're continuing to watch a little bit further east of there. I wouldn't be surprised if we still saw some severe weather around the Madison County area, Boone County. Obviously you'll be under the gun by some of these thunderstorms. But again, I don't anticipate this being or having any major severe weather from here on out. Gravette, same deal. Really, this is just universal for everywhere. Northwest Arkansas, River Valley area, it just doesn't look like the severe weather risk is all that high at this current time. Nice little lightning flash there, as you can see. Yep, heavy rainfall in Bentonville, definitely, but no severe, thankfully, which is very good to see. I see a comment that says that it's much worse in St. Louis, but there's no warnings. I don't see any warnings in the St. Louis area, and I don't envision there being any major severe weather there at all. The area I would be most concerned about is right over here in the same spot as it usually is. Southeast Arkansas, western Mississippi. You got some stronger thunderstorms down there that could become tornadic. And tomorrow, James Spann neck of the woods in Alabama, there could be some pretty significant severe weather. But here in northwest Arkansas and in the River Valley, it does look like that severe weather risk is beginning to taper off. All right. Well, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of lightning going on over Mount Sequoia, Cam, which is a little disappointing. I wish there was a few more lightning strikes so we could see the base of these storms really rolling in, but it just doesn't look like that's going on right now. So it looks like these storms are beginning to die off. Though it looks like there's a little bit more lightning going on northwest of Fayetteville.
This is the dud.
But just your,
This is the total dud.
it's not
Flat
garden
out.
variety thunderstorms. It's just above garden variety thunderstorms. See how elongated that is.
It is more of a QLCS, though. That does kind of concern me, where these storms can ramp up pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So
Have to watch
we'll
it closely.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated.
These
I think we
things-
can shut her down, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, these storms that are behind it, the winds aloft, as they're mentioned in NWS chat, are not very impressive.
Yeah, they're dying off again.
Yep.
Systems lifting north, moving out. But that circulation
We'll watch that.
in Washington County, we'll watch that and see what happens there.
We know how quickly those can.
it is pretty
spring up.
elongated. Well, we got a view of it from our Mount Sequoia WeatherBug Network camera. Let's keep watching it there.
It looks pretty balanced. That line does.
Yeah, let's see here. Oh, that's totally elevated. That sums it up.
Dookie.
We're all right, though. We're all right
All
with
right.
that. We're thankful.
We are very thankful. Like I said, man, blessing.
All right, you can shut it down, man.
All righty. Well, thanks everybody for coming out to the live stream. Again, we'll continue to keep track of all these thunderstorms as we move throughout the remainder of this evening. But again, it does look like the severe weather risk is going down considerably. We'll fire up another Facebook Live if things ramp up again. But if we don't, hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your night. Happy New Year once again. And we will see you guys next time. Have a great night, everybody.